this meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I know it. Roll call. Council members are all present. Mayor Stone is absent tonight. We have before us a amended agenda, removing item 6B, the EDA report, removing item 7B, pay request number 4, adding item 7D, approving a change order number 1 for the airport project. Any other changes? Council?
No.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve
Second.
and a second. Any other comments? Call the question then. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. You have a copy of the meeting minutes from last 2 weeks ago, roughly. Comments or changes? No. Hearing none. Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Last chance to comment. No? All right. Call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carries. 3 in favor, 1 abstention. We have no public open forum. Maybe there's somebody, huh? Anybody wish to address the council?
Vicky.
Vicky wishes to address the council. She's move on, yes. Call one last time. Anybody to address the council? Well, we'll move into our public hearings. There are none. Reports and presentations. Park Board report.
Okay, the Park Board met last night. It was their regular meeting of the month at 5 p.m. They had a few items on the agenda. Don Peschel was here from the public school to give them the annual summer rec report. They had their participation numbers are up, and they were able to fund the program with our help, and they ended up, I think, $900 to the good in the fund after the end of the season. So that went very well with them. We have a couple items that are recommended to the City Council tonight. One is the fishing pier, and the other one is the summer. They're looking for some seasonal help at the arena, and those are action items that you have later on tonight. And the other thing that they had, the campground season has come to an end, and they reviewed the preliminary revenue and expense numbers. And of course, expense numbers aren't current yet because the September bills aren't all paid yet. They're in this batch. So, but the revenues were high. I think the revenues were the highest we've ever had. So good news for the campground. And I think that's all I have.
Questions at all? Moving along then, action item 7A, approving resolution 2017-64, accepting a replacement fishing pier.
The fishing pier, we talked about this, touched on this a little bit earlier, and this is a recommendation of the Park Board from last night's meeting. But the Department of Natural Resources, Division of Parks and Trails, they have secured the funding for the replacement of the pier. They've been in touch with us on arranging for the timeline. The first thing that we need to do is complete this resolution of support for the project, and then there'll be an agreement that'll follow that afterward. The pier could arrive like in the next couple months, as early as this fall, and it'll be down there by the boat access. And originally, the old one was going to stay in place, but now it looks like they'll be taking the old one out right away. And they're going to be repurposing that and then sending that off to a new home. So the first thing that we need to do to get this rolling is to approve Resolution 2017-64, accepting the replacement fishing pier. And that also authorizes us to enter into a cooperative agreement with the DNR. Because they continue to own the pier, we just maintain it.
Questions or comments?
I have had a couple people ask me about the future of the existing pier, so they should be directed to contact the DNR?
Right, because the DNR will take it out and they'll repurpose it, and it might go to another lake or another city or a conservation club. It could go anywhere.
Okay.
So, but we could give you the contact information of the person we're working with.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
good. Thank you.
No chance that could stay on our lake?
I don't know if they would leave it on our lake or not, because, you know, the DNR funds these and they put them where they feel that they need to be. So,
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion then?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion made and seconded. Any other last-minute comments or, no? Call the question, and all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Winter seasonal employment.
We have the following list of people that will be working for, that were proposed to be working for the city for the winter for part-time seasonal. We have the ice arena attendant Keith Sorensen and Mike Anderson, figure skating instructor Sarah Linnau and Morgan Hess, and outdoor rink attendant Dennis Christensen. And I have all the rates in there, and the public works ones, they're set by the union contract, and so those are the rates that they would be eligible for. And then we also would like to advertise for one additional ice arena attendant, so we can split the hours on the weekends between the three of them instead of two of them. And it'd be mostly weekend and evening work, so we'd kind of have get that rolling as well. So we are requesting to approve the winter seasonal employment as presented, along with authorizing us to advertise for a third ice arena attendant part-time.
Questions or comments?
Dennis Christensen, has that been a prior rink attendant?
Yes, this is actually, he's at step 8 now, so he's
Okay.
been here. And then he also helps us mow in the summer.
Okay. That was my question. I just didn't see the step 8 next to his name, so I didn't know if he was
Oh.
starting off the bat at that rate. Okay.
All right. Call a question, or call for motion then.
I'll make a motion that we approve the winter seasonal employment.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? Call the question then. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 4 in favor, none against. Approving change order number 1 for the airport project.
This is the add item to your agenda that I had emailed out earlier, but during the airport construction project, we had to do some additional subsoil corrections. These are corrections below the 30 inches we went down, and then there was still some organic material in the soil, so they had to excavate that out. And then they backfilled it with granular material, which we were able to excavate on the site. So it was basically take it out of this, take the other dirt, put it in that hole, like swap the dirt. And the total cost of the removal, mining, and replacement and restoration was $95,251.20. They did present the change order to the FAA, and they did approve the additional funding to cover the cost. And so what we're looking at for tonight is to us to accept that change order and authorize the execution of the documents to amend the grant. And so that is our action: approve change order number 1 for the airport project and authorize the execution of the documents.
This is still subject to, was it 80% match?
Actually, this is 5% city, 90% FAA, and 5% MnDOT. So
Okay.
the city is 5%.
Okay, so, any other questions?
So that's, the dirt they switched it with was granular
Yes.
stuff that was right out there?
Yes.
So there's no hole or anything?
No, they just
Wow.
swapped it.
Wow.
Well, there was an area where we had to grade down a hill a little bit too, so that's been leveled out, but no, we were able to swap the dirt.
Oh, that's good. I'll make a motion to approve the change order number 1 for the airport project.
I'll second it.
We have a motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? We'll call the question then. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 4 in favor, none against. Unfinished business, the North End project.
This is just a little bit of update on the project. It's more of a timeline, just to kind of give you an idea of what we expect this timeline to look like. You know, as of on September 20th, we received the feasibility report and called for the hearing. The hearing will be held on November 1st. And that is the date that if you accept it and order the improvement, we proceed. I did put an alternate date in case you're not ready to, if you have more questions or need more information. I extended it out to November 15th as an alternate date to order the improvement. I gave Keith till February 21st to approve the plan, or to get the plans ready to bring it in, and then we could go out for bids and award bids on the 4th of April. Those dates are pushing it out a little far. We maybe can pull them back, but kind of gives you an idea. Then we would sell bonds maybe in April, so we would take the funding in June. When we have to start paying bills, we could maybe push the bonds out a little bit further before we need the money, but it kind of gives you an idea. And then we have the construction period of the summer, and something that we need to talk about with the city engineer too, with the hospital there and everything, if we want to phase it a little different, maybe over 2 years, or spring and fall, or how we want to work with that. And then come October, we'll have the final assessments and hopefully do the final work in the summer of 19, so like the final lift. So this kind of gives you an idea of how the project is going to flow if we decide to move forward with it. And I don't know if Keith has anything to add about where he's at with the project, but that was just kind of a timeline deal.
I really don't have anything new to add to the project. We're kind of waiting for the public hearing to occur at this point. I have provided to Vicki, it'll probably come in your next packet, and just an update to the report that specifically looks at the project that you selected to go forward with. So there'll be a little update that you'll see here shortly, probably in your next packet, I imagine. And that's about it. Otherwise, I do think we may be looking dollar-wise, this could be a 2-year project, or at least part of 2019, perhaps, before we finish it. We haven't really gotten to the details of how we want to keep access to the hospital. Obviously, that's very important, so we'll have to do some phasing. So that might drag things out a little bit, but we'll see. And also, as Vicki mentioned, we probably could maybe push, like the award date might be able to be one council meeting sooner than what's in front of you here. So, but it gives you a pretty rough idea, I think a close idea of where we're going to be schedule-wise. So if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Getty Street project.
This was the other thing too, is that, you know, we had previously approved the Getty Street project to also happen in 2018. And so I just wanted to bring it to your attention that maybe there's an option there to include that in the same funding package as the one on the north end, to kind of take advantage of cost savings when you bond one bond versus 2 bonds, if we decide to bond for it. Just kind of have that, think about that in your mind as we move forward with that project as well. So that's just more informational. There's no decision or anything that you need to make.
New business, North End project
This
potential
just
funding.
kind of keeps moving right along with the same project. So I met with our bond counsel on how we would structure that bond for up there, because I want to make sure before we get too far down how affordable it could be for not only the property owners, but the city and the public utility. And actually looking at how it would impact, what kind of levy we would have to make, what kind of revenue from the public utility would require, what the interest rate would be. And we would look at probably doing like a special assessment bond. It would have a levy component, it would have a revenue component, so it would be one of those bonds that has several revenue sources to it. We did look at the option of including Getty Street. We looked at, is there any portion of it that may be trunk sewer portion, that may be a storm utility option. We looked at all of that, and it's looking like if we do a 10-year bond, the interest rate right now, if we did it today, would be about 2.3%, and if we do a 15-year, it'd be about 2.6%. Now, next summer is a ways away, so we don't know what the interest rates are for sure going to do, but he felt pretty confident that we'd be in that price range as far as selling the bonds. So it's still very feasible to do the project. And but as soon as we know what the final scope is and kind of get the numbers tied down a little bit better, we'll come back to you and he'll come up and explain exactly what those numbers mean. He's also running numbers to say, okay, if we do this and you levy, that the impact to a house in Sauk Center of a $100,000 house or a $150,000 house, just to see what that levy impact would be to that house to do this project. So these are very preliminary numbers at this point, but I wanted to get on that before we actually ran the project forward in case something really jumped out that didn't make us feel comfortable. But again, this is information only as we go down that road.
Questions? No? Moving along then, we have public hearing discussed for a new liquor license.
Okay, just information. There'll be a public hearing at the next meeting, and this is for a new liquor license at the old golf course. So this will be just a regular liquor license that they are applying for, so that will be a public hearing at that time, and the statute requires us to have a public hearing because they've never had a full liquor license there before. So,
All right. And we have business district parking.
this thing kind of floats up every few years. We've had some kind of people coming in, a little bit of dispute about the downtown parking, which becomes an issue every once in a while, where maybe a business owner, his employees park down the street, but then they're in front of some other business owner's street, or customer parking area, and someone had come in and requested that we mark customer parking. And I had suggested that maybe the downtown owners just get together and agree not to park in front of each other's businesses, and that's something that they will try first, but they were asking, is there a way the city can do like 2-hour parking downtown? I said, well, all those options are out there. Recommend that they use the public parking. Talk to Matt about getting some better signage for our public parking lots, because the people I talked to said, we didn't even know you had public parking lot. So we'll get those marked, and maybe that'll take care of it, and it'll heal itself. If not, it might come back before you in the future, so we'll see where it goes.
All right. Questions or comments? Brings us to our consent agenda then. The following on the consent agenda: schedule of claims, unpaid claims of $230,842.78, and paid claims of $85 for a total of $230,927.78. We also have resolution number 2017-65, resolution accepting contributions from the men's card playing group for $200.85 to be allocated to the senior center. We'd like to thank them on behalf of the city for their contributions. And finally, a gambling application for exempt permit request from Holy Family School for a raffle on December 20th at the school. Questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
I have a motion
To do what?
to approve.
Okay. We have a motion to approve. We have a second.
I'll second
We have a second. Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? Call the question then. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
One abstention, yeah.
Motion carries 3 in favor, 1 abstention. We have informational items.
The only informational item I have for you tonight is this is the safety committee meeting minutes from their last meeting, and then you can also see that they were doing the inspections and the types of training that they're doing, and then going forward we'll have additional training, but just kind of keep you, that we still have the safety program going on with the PUC, and it's working out well, so we keep moving on that.
Anything else? There being no further business, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion made and seconded. Call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.